Hey, what's up, family? It's Sharp Hands. Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My client here requested for a high taper and beard work. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Right now, we're putting in that ball line for the high taper. Make sure it's at the end of his ear to the other side of his box where his lineup ends. Balling everything out. Now we're putting in that guideline for the beard, which I put it where his earlobe starts. Now we're going with the shaver. Keep in mind when you're going to shaver and balding everything out, don't go too harsh up to the bald line because you just might make another harsh line for yourself, which will be hard to take off later on. Now we're going with the no guard close, 1/2 inch, making sure that guideline is nice and straight and it's not crooked at all, and it has enough space between it. Now we're going with the one closed, again 1/2 inch, making sure that guideline is nice and straight. It's not crooked at all and it has some space there. Now we're going with the two open, making sure you're taking off some bulk here. My client's hair is really thick, so a two open won't really take much, but it's good to go over it. Make sure you smooth everything out to the ridge of his head. Now we're closing number 2, and now we're going down a bit more from where we were at first, keeping the blade nice and flat. Now we're going with the 1 1/2 open, keeping the blade nice and flat, smoothing that blend out between the two open and the two closed. Now we're closing the 1 1/2. Again, we're going down a bit more from where we were, using that corner, using the full blade, making sure you're not flicking out. We don't flick out right here. We just keep the blade nice and flat, the guard nice and flat against the skin. My client's hair is really thick, so every few strokes I make sure I'm brushing and making sure I have a clear canvas. Right here we're working around the ear, because I see a lot of mistakes on barbers sometimes. They do a taper, a high taper, mid taper, and around the ear, behind the ear is so bulky, so make sure you get rid of that and hit it with the 1 1/2. Now we're going with my one open, and if you haven't noticed yet, we're going down literally every single guard from the two open down to the one open as well, keeping the blade nice and flat, using the corners, brushing down as we go. Now we close to number 1, and we're going down a bit more from where we were, making sure you brush every time, every few strokes, using that corner, open and closing, and working around the ear as well. Now we're going with my trimmer, lining him up around the ear, using that corner, letting the corner glide, and in the corner do the work. Now for the step that's going to bring everything together is our half closed, attacking that line we left off, making sure it's nice and flat, no flicking out. Now we're going with our blade open, no guard. I noticed it wasn't cutting much, so now we're closing it bit by bit. And every time I close, I go down a little bit more from where I was. Every time I open, I go up from a little bit more from where I was previously. As you can see, the blend is coming together, making sure we're opening and closing, playing with the lever, keeping the blade flat and using our corners and brushing down as we go. After lining him up with the trimmer, as you can see, we're going with the blade and stretching out that skin, making sure you don't cut him. Now I went back to the taper and retouched it, opening and closing, playing with the lever, using the corner as well. Now we're going with the one close, clearing out some bulk, making sure we have some room for where most of our blend is going to be. Now every time we go down, we open up the lever bit by bit. Now we go with the number 2 closed, going down bit by bit, using our corner. Now we're going with our half guard closed, where we previously put the one closed. This won't completely take out that line, but we're smoothing it out. So when we go with our no guard closed, no guard open, playing with the lever, it won't be as hard for us. Now every time we go down, we open up the lever. For the most part, I like using the corner of the blade here. Now every time I close it, I go up a bit more to take that bond line out as much as I can. Now we're putting some shave gel where I'm doing his lineup, because I already know how his skin is. It gets really irritated if you try to dry shave. Now we're going with the blade, using full over blade right now, and kind of using that shave gel as our guide in a way. Right here, he wanted his beard lining as thick as possible. Last time he got his haircut, they went down a little bit too much. He kind of likes his beard line as thick as possible, so we did that, using the shave gel as our guide in a way. Now we're going with the no guard blade closed. Every time we open up a little bit more, we go down a bit more. Every time we close it, we go up a bit more, removing where we left off with that half closed. Making sure we brush down every time, every few strokes, making sure we have a clear canvas so we can see what we're doing. We're going with our blade again, just making sure we're using the corner of the blade only so we can make that line up a bit more sharp, stretching out the skin as we go as well. Again, now we're going back with my trimmer, removing the stubble we left off. Now we're going to the back taper. We're putting in that ball guideline with our trimmer as well. Going back with our shaver, balling everything out. Same thing we did to the side of the taper. We're going with the no guard close, 1/2 inch. Now we're going with the 1 guard close. Normally I will go 1/2 inch, but I decided to do a good inch of a guideline to stretch that taper out on the back so we can have some more space to work with at the end. Now same thing as well, we're going with our 2 open, clearing out some bulk. My client's hair is really thick, so the 2 open didn't do much. Then again, now we're closing it, staying underneath where we were. Now we're going with the 1 1/2 guard open, staying underneath from where we were last time. Now we're going to close it. Now we're going to go down a bit more from where we were last time again. Same thing as well. Making sure I take my time here, softening up those dark spots because my client's hair is really thick. One open, as you can tell. As you can see, we're going down literally every single guard from where we started, which was the 2 open. We're staying down. We're going down a little bit more from where we were. Now we closed our number 1 and we keep going and flicking out that line, using our corner as much as we can. This will help us soften that line up so we can just erase our last line with our 1/2 guard closed. Now for the step that brings everything together, we're going with our 1/2 guard closed, flicking out that line. Using our corner, every time we open, we go up a bit more. Every time we close, we go down a bit more. Using our corners, trying to stay as flat as possible as well. Now I'm going with the no guard, using just our blade. We're playing with the lever opening and closing, attacking that line, just detailing that line as much as we can, trying to erase it. And as you can see, the blend is coming in. Now again, I'm going with my trimmer, removing any little residual line, any little stubbles that I see. Literally the exact same steps we did on the other side of the taper. We're starting in the corner of his box right here to the tip of his ear. Right here, my client is a good friend of mine, which he also is a barber himself. I learned so much from him, and it was a good experience working with him. Once again, we're going with our one guard close, making that guideline 1/2 inch, making sure we have some space. Now after a 2 open, we're going with the 2 close once again. Now we're working around the ear, trying to flick out those dark spots around the ear so it doesn't look so bulky. Now we're going to 1 and 1/2 open, and it's closing as we go, and staying underneath from where we were. Right after a 1 and 1/2 guard close, once again we're going with our 1 open, staying underneath, going down a bit more from where we were last time. As you can see, the blend is coming through. Now here we're going around in the back of his ear, going with my trimmer and my comb, removing all those dark spots and that bulk around the ear. Now at last we're going with the 1/2 guard closed, opening and closing, playing with that lever. Once I open up my lever bit by bit, I go up bit by bit. And once I close down my lever, I go down bit by bit from where I was. Then again, we're going with our trimmer, lining him up around the ear. Now here what I'm doing is going with my 1/2 guard open, going around the ear, taking out some of that dark spots, that bulk around the ear so it doesn't look so bulky. Now we're hitting it with the 2 open, going around the ear as well so it doesn't look so dark. Then we close it as well. Same thing as we did in the other side. We're going with our 1 close, making some room for ourselves. Then we go with the 2 open, removing any long hairs. Then we close it gradually as we go. Using our corner to remove any long hairs there, remove some of that dark spots for where our blend is going to be. Now we're going with the 1/2 guard close, opening and closing gradually as we go. Right after I did his beard lineup, I came with no guard closed and open. Remove all those stubbles in that residual line that we left off. Now I'm going with my blade and the comb. The reason why I do this is to thin out the front hairs. Since his front hairs here, where his lineup is going to be, were really thick, it would have been much harder for myself to put a nice sharp lineup for him. And this will help me to go over with my trimmer and put a nice sharp lineup. Normally I start in the middle, then I proceed to the corner. Every time I go over the lineup, I use my comb to comb all those hairs down every time to check my work. Then I connect it from the other side to the middle as well. Then I went back and retouched his beard because I feel like it needed a little bit more work. This is the finished cut. Let me know what you guys think. As you can see, I didn't do his mustache right there. He was running a bit late. He told me he would do it at the shop when he gets there. For the most part, I really like how this came out. Let me know any suggestions, what you guys would like to see in the next haircut tutorial. Please leave any comments, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you everyone for watching. And please remember, guys, the energy you put out and the energy you receive. Have an amazing day, everybody.